The cold winter wind swept through the city park as people hurried past in warm coats, carrying shopping bags and cups of hot coffee. No one noticed the lonely old man sitting quietly on a worn-out wooden bench. His gray beard was covered with frost, his shoes were torn, and the thin blanket around his shoulders barely protected him from the freezing weather. Every few minutes someone walked by. Some looked at him with pity, while others pretended he didn't exist. Lowering his head, the old man whispered to himself, "Maybe today, someone will remember me." At that very moment, a father named Daniel entered the park with his 3 7-year-old triplet sons, Ethan, Noah, and Liam. The boys laughed as they chased each other around the trees. Although they looked exactly alike, each had a different personality. Ethan was kind and thoughtful, Noah was curious and always asking questions, while Liam was brave and never ignored someone in need. As they passed the bench, Liam suddenly stopped and pointed at the old man. "Dad, why is Grandpa sitting here all alone?" Daniel looked toward the bench and sighed. "Sometimes life becomes very difficult, son. Not everyone has a family to take care of them." The 3 boys exchanged a glance. Without saying another word, they ran toward the old man. Daniel smiled, thinking they only wanted to greet him, but he had no idea that those few steps would change their lives forever. The old man looked up in surprise as the boys stood in front of him. Ethan quietly removed his warm scarf and wrapped it around the old man's neck. Noah handed him the sandwich their mother had packed that morning, while Liam sat beside him and asked softly, "Grandpa, are you hungry?" The old man's hands began to tremble. Tears slowly rolled down his cheeks because no one had shown him such kindness in years. He accepted the sandwich but couldn't bring himself to eat. Instead, he kept staring at the 3 boys. Their smiles, their eyes, and even the way they spoke felt strangely familiar. His heart started racing as he whispered, "It can't be, after all these years." The boys couldn't understand why he was crying. Liam gently held his hand and said, "It's okay, Grandpa. You're not alone anymore." Just then, the old man's eyes fell on the silver necklace hanging around Ethan's neck. He froze. It was the exact same necklace he had once given to his own son nearly 30 years earlier. His breathing became heavy as he slowly stood up and looked directly at Daniel. With tears in his eyes and a trembling voice, he whispered, "Daniel, is that really you?" Daniel froze. The color drained from his face because there was only one person in the entire world who knew that name in that way, and that person had disappeared 25 years ago. Daniel stood frozen, unable to take his eyes off the old man. His mind was flooded with memories he had buried for years. Every story his mother had told him, every tear she had shed after the accident, and every lonely birthday without a father suddenly felt uncertain. Before Daniel could say another word, the black luxury SUV came to a stop beside the park. 2 men in expensive suits stepped out and walked quickly toward the old man. The younger man looked relieved the moment he saw him. "Sir, we've finally found you," he said respectfully. The old man lowered his head without answering. Daniel stepped in front of him. "Who are you people? And why are you looking for him?" The older man adjusted his glasses and replied calmly, "Our names aren't important. What's important is that Mr. William Carter has been missing for over 20 years." Daniel frowned. "William Carter?" The man nodded. "Yes. He's the founder of Carter Industries." Daniel couldn't believe what he was hearing. He looked back at the homeless man sitting on the bench. His torn clothes, worn-out shoes, and tired face didn't look anything like a successful businessman. "You're telling me this homeless man built one of the biggest companies in the country?" The younger man sighed. "He didn't become homeless because he was poor. He became homeless because someone stole everything from him." The park suddenly fell silent. Even the 3 boys stopped talking. Liam quietly whispered, "Dad, what does he mean?" Daniel shook his head. "I don't know." The older man opened a leather briefcase and carefully removed several documents. He handed them to Daniel. At the top of the first page was an old newspaper headline. Businessman William Carter dies after tragic car accident. Daniel's eyes widened. He had read those exact words as a child. Slowly turning the page, he found another document. It was a hospital report. The report clearly stated that William Carter had survived the accident but had lost his memory for several months. Daniel looked at the old man in disbelief. "So, you were alive all this time?" William nodded sadly. "When I finally remembered who I was, everything was gone. My business had been transferred into someone else's name. My house had been sold, and your mother had disappeared with you. Every person I trusted had turned against me." Daniel's hands trembled as he held the papers. Everything he had believed for 25 years was falling apart. But before anyone could speak again, a black luxury sedan suddenly pulled up behind the SUV. The two businessmen immediately looked nervous. One of them whispered, "He's here." The rear door slowly opened. A tall man wearing an expensive black suit stepped out. The moment William Carter saw him, the color disappeared from his face. He took one step backward and whispered, "After all these years, he finally found me." Daniel looked at the stranger in confusion. "Who is he?" William's eyes filled with fear. He answered in a trembling voice, "The man who stole my life." To be continued.